Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Mon Valley Fisherman Podcast. And we're going to start out with this video. If you haven't checked out the Mon Valley Fisherman original YouTube, please go over into your search bar, type in the Mon Valley Fisherman, all one word, TheMonValley Fisherman, all one word. It'll come up. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button here, and hit the bell here as well, guys. So you can be caught up with all the videos that I shoot and everything. And so you could be caught up at home. So eventually you will know if the fish near you are going to be biting. Guys, everything's kind of in a mess right now. I know with everything going on that we haven't really been on our normal schedules. We haven't really been able to get out and do what we want to do. But we had 4 really great days there where, the water temperatures are rising. I've noticed about a 5-degree difference within the past week, with charts and everything, other than the charts when I was on the boat with Tom and whatnot. If you guys haven't seen the last video that I just uploaded a few days ago, on the Mon Valley Fisherman page, you need to check that out. That's one of the best videos that I've shot early season. And granted, it's only a few fish, but at the same time, it was awesome to be able to hook into what I hooked into, and where we hooked into them, and how we found out about them. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that today as well, so you guys have more of a background story as to what we decided to do while fishing the Mon. And so I hope everybody's been doing good. Hey guys, I just know this is a scary time, and we're going to be all right, and everything's going to be okay once summer is pretty much in full effect. As of right now, I don't foresee it going away anytime soon. So I don't want you guys to get discouraged about fishing. I think trout's still going to be on and whatnot. So look, just keep a broad distance away from people when you go out and trout fish whenever it does open. And make sure you wash your hands. If you guys are sharing stuff, make sure you guys, have hand sanitizer. We just don't want to spread this anymore, guys. Yes, you are young and you are healthy and you have no underlying conditions, but there are a lot of other people that are very close and dear near to you that do have underlying conditions that will have a harder time with this virus than any other. So I just want you guys to be aware. I'll shut up about it because I noticed on my last video you guys really didn't listen to the video, because I brought a little bit of the title coronavirus, and it scares people and people don't want to hear about it nowadays. But guys, it's a sad reality, and we're going to have to get through this together. So just maintain how you guys have been doing, and just keep well. But okay, here's the backstory onto the river. Tom and I and his buddy, we all ended up meeting at the boat ramp about 10:30. We got on the water, got the boat in the water, tied up a few things, let the engine start. What we decided to tie on was mainly ball head jig base and plastics. And the reason why I'm going with that is these fish are relying on the bottom right now, guys. Some of these fish, like hybrids and whatnot, are suspended. Those are the hardest fish to catch. And those carp, I've noticed if you carp guys are out there, man, I've noticed that they are out and jumping and moving. So you guys should have a blast anywhere that you guys could find carp at right now. I mean, they're close. They're close up to the banks, and they're not that hard not to find. I mean, they're there. They're in the rivers. They're in the creeks. They've pushed up. They've done everything that they've normally do this time of the year to get ready to spawn, I believe. And where did that go? But yeah, so we decided to start out with jig based lures. What I was throwing was a 1/8 ounce ball head jig head, and I want to also bring in a name here. His name is Dave McElroy, and Dave McElroy about 2 years ago, because I was struggling on the waters near me later in the cold months, earlier in the cold months, and what he told me was, and it was on a public thread, so I hope he doesn't mind me telling this, but what he told me was, scent is very key this time of the year. And ever since he told me about that, I've been using this live bait attractant on all my baits. Hey, I'm not trying to be big headed or anything here, but when Tom and I and his buddy went fishing, I was the only one that caught or brought anything into the boat. When Tom had his like 4 bites, he literally had on that live bait scent attractant. The only people that got bit were the ones that had that bait scent attractant on there, and that'll tell you something. Also, it's landing it on their heads this time of the year because the water's up, water's cloudy, and getting it in front of their face is another thing. But so there's a common thing there. I want you guys to get out your scents, your fish attractants, and start using them on your plastics if you're fishing water and you're not really getting bit. Just try something different. This stuff smells like licorice. I'm not gonna lie to you, it smells like licorice, but apparently it's a live bait attractant. So, but to my nose, it smells like licorice. I don't know what happens when a fish smells it, but yeah. So I was using a white grub, 1/8 ounce ball head jig head, a white or sexy shad paddle tail that you guys normally see me throw. And what I'm doing is I'm letting it hit I'm throwing towards the bank, and this is crazy. But we were literally hitting the banks and just pounding the banks because we're looking for those current breaks. We're looking for where fish may hold up and eat. We're looking for bait fish and whatnot. So we pull up into this one area, make a cast, hits the bottom, give it 2 or 3 bounces. Now, these bounces that I'm going to talk to you guys about, when you're jigging your lure back in, you don't want it to be too high up into the water column and falling back down. Only and only when water temperature's up. I'm keeping more of a closer contact when I'm jigging, but also I'm snagging up a lot too. So that depends. It just depends where you guys are fishing. If you guys know there's a lot of snags, then don't keep it on the bottom. Steady retrieve it. They'll come up and grab it. But when it comes to sheephead, those things pretty much will only eat stuff that are really relative to the bottom. I've never caught a sheephead floating something or having it. Well, I can't say that I have from swimming it, but mainly closer bottom contact or on the bottom is when I catch sheephead on plastics. Threw my jig in there, gave it a light 2 bounces, let it sit for 2 or 3 seconds, picked it back up. He was on there. I wasn't feeling these bites, guys. I was not feeling these bites except for the walleyes that you guys seen and the white bass that you guys see in the video. I literally do not feel these fish coming up to it and eating it. These fish are so sluggish still that they're moving up on it. And, sheephead are a bottom relative fish. They're going to eat smaller things on the bottom, algae, dead crayfish, dead things, that kind of stuff. They're the bottom feeder. So when he came over top of the lure, I didn't feel him. Only when I picked up is when he was there. He must have just hovered over top of it and tried to eat it. And I picked up on him. He was a little guy. He was about like 14, 15 inches. Now, granted, a lot of people were saying, wow, 14, 15 inches this time of the year, it's not bad. No, it's not. But for sheephead, man, I've caught sheephead that were close to 30 inches and almost 14 pounds. I mean, they're not 40 inches, about 35. 32, 35. It's kind of rounding up there. But my biggest sheephead was about 14 pounds by estimation. While taking the length measurements and all that kind of stuff, by measurement, it was close to 14 pounds. But yeah, so we were working the bottom pretty good. It was really tough, and the thing that drives me crazy about this time of the year is it's so unpredictable as to what you're going to get bit by or a certain tactic being used. Like when I decided to tie on a paddle tail instead of the grub because I just wanted to see if they maybe wanted something a little bit bigger. But the bait fish that I'm seeing right now is maybe an inch, 2 inches at most. I hooked into one river shiner and it was about the same size as my grub, maybe a quarter of an inch shorter. So I want you guys to keep that in relativity too in your mind, because once everything starts clearing up and everything from all these rains and whatnot, I hope you guys are okay, by the way, from the floods and stuff. But Once it clears up, that smaller bayfish lure or tactic that represents that smaller bayfish is really, really going to become key, guys. And especially once everything starts warming up, the bigger bait fish are gonna start moving a little bit more, and then you can start throwing your bigger stuff. But for right now, try to keep it as finessey as you can. I was using 6 pound test, 6 pound. I will not go to 4 yet. I haven't gotten to that point. Ryan Downer goes to 4 and Marty goes to 4. I will stick at a solid 6 pound through crystal clear water to muddy water in the river. 6 pound. And what I really particularly like, and you guys might not like it, I mean, it's a fluorocarbon, I mean, it's a monofilament based line, but it's fluorocarbon coated. It's FluoroClear. Look it up. It's one of my favorites. I use an improved clinch knot. That thing will pull in trees. Ooh, Red Bull. But yeah, so what I was doing was giving 2 light taps. Bayfish are small. Wasn't feeling any of the bites. We pushed down, further downriver where there was some really slack water, and Tom got bit. I got bit. Tom got hooked up, lost the fish. Tom got hooked up, lost the fish. This time of the year, it's so hard too, because these fish are more or less thickened by the cold, if you want to consider it. So think about, let's just say this, okay? Let's say you caught a fish, right? He's dead, or there's a dead fish there lying on the ground, okay? Depending on how cold it is outside, or how warm it is, it depends on how soft that fish or how hard that fish is going to be, especially if they have bony mouths like walleye, muskie, and whatnot. So when you catch a fish this time of the year, make sure you get a pretty good hook set in the fish, because you want to go through, you want that hook to penetrate, and if you have a barb on there or not, you want to keep that tension, so the fish don't get off. I've noticed that the one walleye that I hooked up into the first really good night that we had of consecutive weather, I threw the grub, let it hit the bottom, gave it 2 bounces, felt the thump and everything, reeled in, did not hook set. I reeled in, and this fish didn't have, the fish didn't have the whole lure in his mouth, granted, but I barely had him pinned right in the top of his mouth, right in the top, and he shook right at the bank, lost him. So make sure you guys keep your hooks in line, make sure they're not dull, make sure you get a good hook set, because these fish are still cold, so they're going to be a little thicker to hook into. Especially when like summer comes around, you guys don't have to lay into the fish. They're so warm, like you could just literally, if you are for sure that the fish has got it, then you can just steady retrieve it in, or fast retrieve it in. That's what I like to do. I like sometimes like during the summer or in late fall. You guys might have seen it when I was catching. A couple years ago when I was in the creek, I was catching some smallmouth, and the first smallmouth, it was this smallmouth eats snake video. If you haven't checked out that video, you need to. I caught a smallmouth with a baby snake down his throat. It was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, so I was fishing in that creek, and I got this big smallie that hit me, and I didn't even hook set like major league hook set. What I did was I had a higher speed retrieve reel at the time, so I reeled it in as fast as I could and make sure I pinned him, because that fish, the way he was angled out too, that fish was automatically pinning himself. But with also my little harder retrieve and tension of the rod and whatnot, the bend of the rod, it's going to penetrate through his mouth during the summer. So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. So like right now, the water temperature, I believe, when we got there that morning, we'll start out with that, 10 o'clock in the morning on that day, it was at 48 degrees. Once we left, it was 50, almost 51. Now I looked at the water temperature from yesterday to today, and it's dropped a degree, but I think it's going to relatively stay around there for a while. especially once we get these 60 degrees days back. And the walleye should be starting to spawn wherever you guys are at. If you guys have any, lock systems, anything like that, those fish are going to be there. They're looking for aeration to get their eggs nice and aerated and kept out of the current and stuff like that. But yeah, walleye, hybrid stripers right now. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going after them smallmouth and largemouth. What I really like to do, to be honest with you, I really like to go after smallmouth during the pre-spawn, even through the largemouth, because them smallmouth are just, they will literally put slack into your line early in the year. I mean, they just come out and they are just ready. They're ready to eat. So get ready for that, guys. We'll talk about that in the next podcast. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll answer them in the next video. Every time that we have comments down in the comment section below and you guys have a question, I will answer them in every video. As long as I don't have like 600 comments. So just think about that. If you have any comments, anything you want to share even, we'll put it down in the description below and we'll talk about a certain subject or anything like that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know everybody's probably going a little stir crazy. It's okay, guys. We're doing okay. We're all going to be okay. And just keep calm, stay home. If you don't feel like, you're sick, stay home. If you want to get out for a little bit. Go out and fish. Go out and do some walking. You know what the best thing for you guys to be doing right now, too, is? If you're looking for new places to fish, I'd highly recommend that you get up and get in your car, and go and pinpoint some places and find some new places that you've never fished before and just save them in your Google Maps. You can pin it and you can save it and come back to that in another day. That'd be the best thing for you guys to do if you guys are getting a little stir crazy or want to go and fish somewhere. Go and find some spots that you guys normally don't. Get out. Stop fishing the same spots that you're normally used to. Sometimes that's what Marty and I mean, this whole winter, that's what Marty and I did. We went and fished all new spots. All new spots. So, yeah. Take it easy, guys. Keep watching the weather. Fish the weather. Rain. If it's rain, we're okay. We're all right. The rivers are going to be blown out for a little bit. We're supposed to get some more rain back at the end of the week here. So, it's going to suck for a while, but keep you guys heads up. Largemouth. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, guys, if you guys would go and fish for a largemouth right now and start catching them too. I know there's a couple of guys out there catching them like here and there, and catching like at least a handful of them. But get out there, do some fishing, throw some chatterbaits around, spinner baits, jigs, flip, do some punching in some mats. These fish right now, if there's a lake that right now. Okay, if there's a lake or a little pond that right now that has a lot of grass still in it because of how light this winter is, you best get out there and go do some fishing right now before this weather gets even worse. Meaning before it gets a little bit cooler and those fish start to lock down again. Because that warmer rain, guys, brought that water temperature up. So if you're fishing in ponds or in smaller lakes, there you go. It'll help out tremendously for the bite. Get out there. Do something. Hang out with some family. Take somebody fishing. Talk to you guys later.